Good evening. I'd like to call to order the Cumberland School Committee meeting today, Thursday, March 27th, 2025, at the Cumberland High School Transitional Building at 7 p.m. Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. Approval of the agenda. Do I have a motion to approve the agenda?
Motion.
Motion by Ms. Shea.
Second.
Second by Ms. Feather. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? That passes 7-0. Consent agenda. Approval of the minutes for regular meetings 2/27/2025 and 3/13/2025. Executive session meetings 3/13/2025 and 3/18/2025. Budget workshops 3/19/2025 and 3/24/25, and school bus inspection report 3/14/2025. Do I have a motion for the consent agenda?
Motion.
Motion by Ms. Smith,
Second.
second by Ms. Shea. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? That passes 7-0. Student government report?
Hello, my name is Rose Tomisto, and I'm the senior class president.
And my name is Emma Guerra, and I'm the social media coordinator.
And we are here on behalf of student government with an update. In late January, we hosted our annual winter ball at Wright's Chicken Farm. We had an increase of students this year and had a fantastic dance. Additionally, many of the students' favorite teachers attended. There was a DJ, food, and lots of music throughout the night, making it yet another successful school dance.
It's that time of year where we start our annual Pennies for Patients fundraiser. However, this year we're switching it up just a bit for one of our own students. This year, our fundraiser will be called Tear It Up for Tyler Perrier. Tyler Perrier is a freshman who was diagnosed with cancer earlier this year and is currently dealing with the hardships that come with that. He has missed out on his high school experience this year, so we're going to tear it up for Tyler. Our plan is to raise money for Tyler and his family. We will be doing our usual teacher versus teacher drive, with the teacher raising the most money winning a pizza party for the class of their choice. Additionally, we have asked teachers to give up their parking spots up top in order for them to be raffled off to students. We've had 15 teachers, all of admin, and someone from the central office give up their spots. Mr. Costa's spot will be donated for a full month as well. There will also be a percentage night at Angelo's where the town can support by ordering food. This will be on April 8th from 4 to 9 p.m., and 20% of proceeds will go directly to Tyler. Lastly, Mr. Costa has agreed to be taped to the wall at lunch on April 9th, with one piece of duct tape going for $1 each.
We will be starting to collect the money this Monday, March 31st, until April 11th. We are very excited to support our fellow student during his fight and can't believe that the 2024-2025 school year is almost over. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Personnel announcements, Ms. Dresek?
Hi, good evening. I have one appointment this evening, effective January 24th, 2025, Laura Lanou as a speech-language pathologist at Garvin and McCourt. The leave of absence for the 2025-2026 school year, Susan Miller, math interventionist at Community School. I have 4 resignations. Each one of these are effective 6/30/2025. All of these employees are currently on an unpaid leave of absence and not working in our district this year. That's Carolyn Petty, science at Cumberland High School, Patricia Lambro, school counselor at Ashton and Cumberland Hill, Kathleen Demotica, science teacher at Cumberland High School, and Judith Rudderhand, grade 6, social studies at North Cumberland Middle School. I have a retirement after 7 years of service, effective July 11th, 2025, Joao Tosti, custodian nights at Garvin, and retirement after 16 years of service, effective October 3rd, 2025, Manuela Silva, paraprofessional at North Cumberland Middle School, and coaching appointments as submitted.
Thank you very much.
Thank
I
you.
appreciate it. Report out of executive session meeting on 3/18/2025 and 3/27/2025. Report out of executive session votes. There were none. Vote to seal minutes of executive session. Can I have a motion to seal minutes?
Motion.
Motion by Ms. Shea,
Second.
second by Ms. Feather. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? That passes 7-0. Dr. Thornton, Superintendent's report, please.
Madam Chair, first, a couple of recognitions. First, if I can call up Mr. Crowley. Come on up. Mr. Crowley's been a longtime coach for us in Cumberland, been our AD since 2021, and now I'm proud to announce he won an award, the NIAAA State Award of Merit, essentially given by the Board of Directors to a person in recognition of outstanding leadership and personal commitment to the values of athletics. And couldn't go to a better person, so congratulations, Mr. Crowley. Picture for you. Mr. Crowley will stay up here for the next award.
Thank you, Dr. Thornton. The RIAAA award banquet is 2 weeks from tonight. We honor multiple people in multiple categories, and one of them is Coaches of the Year. This year we spread it up to fall, winter, and spring. And we do have the fall recipient, a very well-deserved fall recipient, in Coach Carpenter. Coach Carpenter, to this date, her teams have celebrated. She's coached the 2023 Gatorade Player of the Year in cross country in Sam Henderson, 9 individual and team Rhode Island State champions, 38 school records. She's received the 2021 and 2023 RITCA Boys Cross Country Coach of the Year, the 2024 Girls High School Coach of the Year in Rhode Island. Last year, she was also the USATF Boys Coach of the Year 2 seasons ago. This year, she was the USTF Girls Coach of the Year for winning the state title. And very proud to have her as one of our coaches and a recipient award, Coach Kerry Carpenter. Thank you, Dr.
And next up, Mike, we have an update from our recycling program with Kendra Gay and Warren Heyman.
Thank you for, whoa, that was loud. Thank you for letting me have the time here this evening to speak of all of you. I'm Kendra Gay with Rhode Island School Recycling Project here with Warren Heyman. We'd just like to give you an update on how things are going. So I don't know if you guys saw the Valley Breeze January 9th saying that Cumberland needs to do a better job with recycling. And I'm here to let you know that the students at Garvin and Cumberland Hill are leading the town in recycling right and saving the planet one lunch at a time. Thank you. So we put sorting stations in school cafeterias to reduce food waste through food redistribution, composting, and recycling. We are currently in 48 schools throughout the state, and we hope to be in every school as soon as possible. The reason we do this is because food waste is a major problem, especially here in Rhode Island. Americans waste 35 to 40% of food. Right here in Rhode Island, 2,500 tons of food is wasted in schools per year, and 388 tons of that is perfectly good food that could be shared with those who are hungry. And 2 in 5 families here in Rhode Island are hungry. There's an environmental problem when we just throw food out into the landfill. It is covered daily and it creates methane gas, so that's a greenhouse gas that's causing climate change. And our problem is our landfill will be full in about 20 years, and there is no plan B. Right now, Connecticut ships their trash to Pennsylvania for $93 million a year, and I know as a taxpayer, I don't want to do that. Next slide. So we put these fabulous sorting stations into the school cafeterias. We start with the share table. We purchase a fridge. We then have a cooler, so any items that are safe to be shared, like perfectly unopened, uneaten food, so an apple that hasn't been bitten, a yogurt that hasn't been opened, milk, cheese sticks, that type of thing, would go into the cooler right after lunch. It then goes into the fridge. There's a sign on the fridge that says free food, and it's up to the administration how that food gets distributed to the hungry students or families within the community. We then have a liquid bucket where we empty out the liquids instead of just putting them in the trash. So that removes the leaky mess, and the custodians are very happy about that. At the end of the lunch, that just gets thrown down the drain like you would at home. The next stop is the recycle bin, and pretty much what goes in there are the milk cartons, juice boxes minus the straw, aluminum foil, water bottles with the cap on, very light objects that can be recycled. The next stop is the landfill or trash, and what's left in there is very light objects. It's utensils, it's straws, it's Ziploc bags and wrappers, so the weight immediately goes down. We then go to the composting. That's where a lot of the weight is picked up, but it's all food scraps that we compost, and we will return that compost to the schools at the end of the school year for their gardens. And then we do have, if needed, a tray table, and that is needed here in Cumberland, where we just stack up the trays, and you guys have the boats in the 2 schools that we're in. If they're fairly clean, they go right into the recycle bin. If they're dirty, they go into the landfill. Next slide. So we have recruited and trained these student rangers right here from Garvin and Cumberland Hill to run these sorting stations, and we have empowered them through project-based learning. They are getting these 21st century skills. They're getting leadership, communication, community service, interpersonal skills, and these programs has a future impact on the students and right here in this town of Cumberland. We involve all of our stakeholders, and we can't thank them enough, and that's from our school champions like Kristen Marshall, reading specialist at Cumberland Hill, to our parent volunteers and grandparent volunteers, Mickey over there, thank you, all the way to BS. We couldn't run it at Cumberland Hill without Mickey being there on Tuesdays and Fridays. We need the custodians, we need the food service workers, we need the students, the principals, everybody's involved, and when they're on board, it makes this project a joy. Next slide. This is an exciting thing right here. So the EPA and the USDA has challenged all of us in schools to decrease the food waste per student by 50% by 2030. And Cumberland Hill is our first school out of 48 that has done this within 6 months. They have surpassed this goal. It's amazing, amazing. Yes. And Garvin was right behind them. They did it within a year. So kudos to Cumberland. You guys are amazing. Next slide. So what you guys have done here in Cumberland is it's like eliminating the emissions from driving a gasoline-powered car 41,000 miles, because you guys have reduced the greenhouse gases by 16.1 metric tons of carbon dioxide. I always get that wrong. Not very sciencey, but it's huge. It's awesome. Next slide. And that's also like 16 acres of pulling carbon dioxide out of the atmosphere. So that's like giving us back a forest. So it's pretty awesome. Next slide. Part of the project is to teach young people about measurements. We weigh everything that we do. We do food waste audits, and we've got the 5th graders at Cumberland Hill who've just taken on this project. They'll be doing monthly food waste audits, tracking the data, making sure we're on target. Next. We also do things like zero waste days, and we're planning one right now at Garvin. This is where we challenge the students on one day to pick a day that's a great day that they love, Taco Tuesday or it's Pizza Friday, and challenge those students to not waste anything during lunch. So if they're bringing lunch from home, we want them to bring reusable Ziploc bags or containers. We want them to eat everything that they take, and we have fun with it. We have prizes, and we really hope that they're learning and taking this home. We continue with educational field trips to the landfill and presentations from Rhode Island Resource Recovery. Maxman is a huge hit. We also like to support with school gardens and so much more. At the end of the school year, we recognize students who take on those leadership roles, and I believe you've all been invited to the award ceremonies at Garvin and Cumberland Hill. Hope you can all make it. These are some words from our students in Mr. Tanasio's class and other 5th graders. They had the presentation because they're going to be taking over the food waste audits, and these were some of their thoughts afterwards. They couldn't believe how filled the landfill was, which is going to be full in 20 years. They remembered from the presentation that if you are wasting food, you are not only wasting food, you're destroying the process that the food has been made. And that is very intelligent, because not only do we waste the food that's in our hands, but all the energy and the resources that went to make that food has also been wasted. This student remembered that more greenhouse gas we get cause more extreme weather, and that's so, so true. And this student remembered that our school is only the school right now producing less food waste, so that's something that they can be proud of. And there we go. I'm going to turn it over to Warren for some thoughts. Anything else? A minute to say? No? All right. Warren doesn't have anything to say. I'm going to turn it over to one of our student rangers, Andrew, and to our school champion, Kristen Marshall.
Hi, everybody. I'm happy to be here in this room filled with people that care about the education of the children of our town. My name is Kristen Marshall. I'm a reading specialist. This is my 35th year teaching. The first 27 years of my career was spent, first at Central Grammar. That's now closed. They've converted that into condos. And then at BF Norton. And in 2018, I moved up north and became a reading interventionist specialist at Cumberland Hill. I grew up in this town. I attended school in this town. The school where I work now, Cumberland Hill, was one of the schools that I attended as a child. I feel extremely grateful to be able to work in the town where I grew up. And it is a privilege to be an educator and to get to do what I do. Yes, I've had a long career. I was a second grade teacher before I taught as a reading specialist. And back in those days, the curriculum was a little bit different, but it's hard. Once you teach something, it's hard to unlearn it. But we had a science and social studies thematic unit where we taught the environment. And so I was before my second graders at BF Norton School at that time, and we talked about the rainforest and endangered animals and recycling. And once you teach it, and you can't just talk the talk, you have to walk the walk. So lifestyle changes happened. And then years go by, and other things in curriculum need to be addressed, and unfortunately we can't focus on those things, but it has been a passion of mine. There's an article in the Valley Breeze today, maybe some of you have had a chance to see it, about Cumberland Hill, about this program. And Sophia Barr, that came to Cumberland Hill last week and sat down with some of us that are involved in this program. I made the comment that I was a tree hugger, and she put it in the article, and I was thinking, oh, I don't know how that's going to... Sometimes, people have different opinions when certain terms are used, but, and she said it was all my life, but it really wasn't until I became a teacher. So, fast forward, this Rhode Island Schools Recycling Project, I was lucky because I ran into a former student of mine that happened to be subbing. She was a substitute in the Cumberland Hills cafeteria, and I just said hello to her. Didn't realize it was someone that I knew, and she said, "Miss Marshall," and I said, "Lexi," and so we caught up. And I said, "I didn't realize that you were working for Sodexo at the time." And she was just telling me about all the different jobs that she had, and she was the former student of mine at BF that. She told me about this Rhode Island Schools Recycling Project. And I was like, there are people out there that care about this, that want to, teach kids that it is important to pay attention to the way that we throw things out. I know it's not the most popular thing, and it is not the number one priority in education, obviously, but you have the beliefs of teaching your children well, because they're going to inherit this earth. And they're going to be our future leaders, and there will be challenges for our future generations to face that we really can't anticipate. So, all of that said, I appreciate all of you for being here, and I would like to introduce this fifth grader from Cumberland Hill School. This is Andrew Saracen, and he has a few words that he would like to share with all of you about the recycling program. Thank you so much. Oh.
Hi.
Come on, a little closer.
Yeah,
I'll hold it for you. Yeah, sure.
Hi,
Test, test, test. There you go.
Hi, my name is Andrew Sarrazin from Miss Minecca's 5th grade class at Cumberland Hill. When Miss Marshall introduced us to the new school project of recycling, me and my classmates were all excited. As soon as we start, rangers, students, and teachers were all excited. And it's very important that our town will get cleaner throughout as we go. Johnston landfill is getting full. If we can just get all the schools in Cumberland, Rhode Island, just to join the recycling program, we can make Cumberland the number one cleanest town in Cumberland.
Good job. Thank you so much, Andrew. And Mrs. Malcolm, I hope you don't mind, but I'm going to invite anybody that would like to come in during lunchtime to, if you'd like to see this in action. It's great. Great connections have been made through it as well. Thank you so much. I don't know what I did to this, but...
So I'll just add just two quick things, which is that the district got a Get the Foam Out grant from RIDE. So with the money that's left with that and some money that we've raised, we could probably do an additional school in Cumberland if that would be the desire of the superintendent and the school committee.
Great, thank you very much. Any questions from the committee? Okay, I appreciate your time. Excellent, great information.
All right, Madam Chair, next up, I can call up Ms. Smith, Ms. Goldstein. They're going to talk about the cake wars at community school.
Hi. Just wanted to spend a few minutes to talk about an event that Ms. Goldstein and I recently attended. It was held 3 different weeks, the first 3 Mondays of March, and it's the Cake Wars at Community School. It is used as a fundraiser, and that's fabulous, but I think it's important to talk about where it became an event, and that was during COVID. The very first year when the kids were on Zoom, the teachers and the school looked at it and said, what can we do to help bring some joy to these kids who are stuck at home? And they started the Cake Wars. So Andy and Sarah down at Community School, kudos to you. You've done an amazing job at building it. I attended 2 different nights. I did the 4th and 5th graders, and as you can see, lots of children were there and lots of them were involved. We also have the 2nd and 3rd grade classes that were done, but we have our 4 winners here. Each group, 2 classes at a time, or 2 grades at a time, each had winners. So you can see some of the cakes. I was amazed at some of the decorations and how they did it. They were all given surprise bags. They couldn't open them until the very last minute. Then they opened, found out what their theme was, and then they had a half hour to get that cake frosted, get it decorated. Kudos to the parents. I can't even imagine how you could eat that because there was a lot of licking of fingers, then touching the cakes. So, yeah, I thought maybe I'd want to slice it first, but then I saw what was happening and thought better of it. But then you can see here, 2nd and 3rd grade, lots of students involved, and it's just taken off to be such a great event, and it is a fundraiser. So this is money that's going to go to the students for different events that they're having in their school, and I think it's important when you bring a school community together, regardless of what school it is, and do these fun events. So, and I think Ms. Goldstein attended one of the events, so I'll let her speak on that as well.
I went to kindergarten and 1st grade. I did not take nearly as many pictures as Mrs. Smith. And I feel badly about that. But again, this is something that Mrs. Friedland and Mrs. Peluri and many, many other teachers, and if I start to name them, I know I will miss them. I will miss somebody, but many, many teachers spend their time after school to make this happen for the kids, and it really is one of the most fun fundraisers that community has. And the proceeds go towards all of the profit goes towards field trips, school enrichment, and lots of other things for a community school. So I just want to say thank you for inviting us.
All right, next up, Mike, just a quick word. We have a new app, our Bus Zone. We had some bumps having the app rolled out, but now it is working well. Essentially, parents can set like a geofence and have an alert to their phone when the bus is getting close to their area. Should you have any questions on the app, you can email Tracy Walton, tracy.walton@cumberlandschools.org, or you can call Tracy at 658-1600, extension 274, actually, 274. So that's that, Mike. Cumberland Hills Playground is 1 day ahead of schedule. It starts Monday. So the new playground, the first one, Cumberland Hill, starts Monday, about a month, and then we go into Garvin and then to Ashland. That's what it looks like just from the schematic drawing. Next one, Mike. And that's just the visual for the playground. Very similar to community school as far as the apparatus. That's exciting. It starts Monday. And last but not least, I thought it'd be good to show you some of the inside of BF Norton. We have our great team here tonight. We have AI3 of the architects. We have Colliers, the project leaders, and Consigley Construction, all here to show you and talk about BF Norton. So come on up, folks.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Anne-Marie Andrade. I'm a senior project manager at Colliers. We are joined here by our amazing design and construction team for the new BF Norton Elementary School. My team, Samantha Lane from AI3, Suzette Joseph from Consigley Construction. What we've put together for you this evening is to walk through the presentation and provide you with an update on our project. So for construction, we recently received our design development approval from RIDE, so that was great. We are actively in construction documentation phase. We will then start construction earlier this summer with a turnaround of opening in the fall of 2027. So with that said, I will turn it over to AI3 to walk you through the presentation.
Great, thank you. So as Anne-Marie mentioned, we've just submitted our design development submission. So this is kind of a snapshot of where the design process has led us so far, and now we're getting into the construction document phase where we'll dive into the next level of detail and have further updates throughout the process. So beginning with the site plan, the building is that large gray region sort of to the south of the site, with Broad Street running north-south on the right side of the screen. Exactly, thank you, Mike. So the intent behind this site plan was really influenced by conversations with the community, with the planning board, and with the staff members at BF, where we've shifted the building farther south and shifted the parking mostly to the south and the east, allowing for a larger green space and playground space to the north, which is at the top of the page there. We also have a road looping around the perimeter of the site for parent circulation, and we have measures of gates and fencing around that play space to the north to divide for a safe area for the students to play during the school day, and then to open to the public after school hours or on weekends. Moving into the floor plans. So an update on similar concepts from when we shared at the schematic design level, but we've really refined and pushed the design, again, based on further conversations and programming discussions with the staff members. So we're starting at the lower level here, and this level is level with the current baseball field to the north right now. And that will primarily be the more public side of the school, where we have the gym stage and music, and student dining spaces. So those are directly open up to where that green space and play space is, and that keeps all of those larger spaces and more public spaces all on one level to help secure the front part of the building, which is more of the academic program. So moving up to that main level, so exactly where Mike's mouse is right now is that main entrance. So that is facing Broad Street, and right to the north of that is the admin and nurse suites for supervision and surveillance of both the parking, the main entrance, and that main level of the academic wing. One thing that we've been working towards is really finding a compact and efficient building footprint. So what this layout is showing is in the blue classroom spaces wrapping the perimeter of the building. So all of the classrooms do get natural daylight. And then in the center, we have more of the shared program and like learning core of the building, which is the art classroom and the media center. And the idea there was really to highlight that collaborative learning space and have that be a continuous theme throughout the upper levels. Moving up to the second level, so that central zone is that double height media center, and then we've wrapped the classrooms around the perimeter of the floor again. What we've also incorporated in this design is a learning commons on all of the levels, and that is again to add flexible collaborative spaces to highlight the learning going on between these grade levels and really be activate all of this shared space and create opportunities for learning as you're traveling throughout any of the classrooms. We've incorporated in those darker blue areas special education suites, and the goal with those is really to allow flexible use of these spaces. So we're including small group rooms dispersed throughout the floor as well as clustered together, and that can allow for the fluctuation of needs throughout the different grades, and especially as we're increasing student enrollment in this new school. And so then on the third floor, it will be a similar layout, but again, thinking about a compact and efficient footprint. We have that central learning space, the learning commons for shared use, and then the special education and classrooms wrapping around all sides of the building there. So thinking about these floor plans, then moving into the exterior renderings, we've been able to really scale back those upper levels to help with the scale of the building for elementary school students and create a really inviting main entrance. So this would be your view from the from Broad Street, and we've pulled the Veterans Memorial to the front, which is what this green space is here in the foreground, and allowed for a more pedestrian-friendly entrance to the school. We're also using a use of metal panel and bright colors to create a more dynamic and playful main face of the school. So that'll be what you see as you're driving down Broad Street or as you're entering the site. It will be a really engaging exterior that just starts to highlight all of the exciting and innovative things happening at BF. And so this is kind of zooming into that front area. What you're seeing with those colored panels there is one of the academic wings. So those are all of the windows into the classroom, and so they'll get natural light and views in all directions of the site. And a couple aerials. So as we kind of loop around the building here, that's that parent loop wrapping the perimeter. And then we have the tallest portion of the building, which is still just 3 stories towards the west here. Along the site, kind of where we see the trees to the left, is that's kind of a significant slope. So that keeps the lower portions more towards where you're at sidewalk level towards Broad Street, and then keeps that taller portion of the building tucked away with all of the trees and kind of that buffer zone there. And this is an aerial view of the play space. So we've even, since this rendering, continued to morph the amount of paved space versus green space. So we're really excited about the kind of freedom we've had with that north portion of the site after we've shifted the building further south. I think it worked out to really create a nice secure zone to use for recess and for the community. And then tucked in here, that's that extra or secondary entrance for the public use. So This mask to the left or right of the page is the gym, so you can enter the gym directly, or you can come in through that second entrance, which is the student dining, and that would kind of be that public core there. Moving inside the building, so this is kind of high level. What we're looking to do is incorporate color and design on the walls, so that even where it is just a flat wall, we're creating that learning and engaging experience, and we're beginning that right off the bat at the entry. BF is a very diverse community, and we really want to create a very welcoming environment, and we want that to start right at that main entrance. And you can start to see already the views into that media center and shared learning STEM space. So you're starting to see glimpses of what's happening inside right away. And this is that double height media center. So we, in this kind of iteration of the renderings, we've been looking at, again, the use of color, but also incorporating science and nature themes to warm up the space and just support kind of the different topics being covered in this STEM and media space particularly. And this is that view from the second floor. So again, kind of continued views, and you can also see these small group rooms kind of in that lighter yellow tucked on each side. So you're starting to get views of all of the different spaces throughout all of the levels. Really opportunities for displaying work, sharing work, and breaking out into different size groups to work together as you're traveling throughout. This is one of those learning commons, so kind of repeated themes here, but just highlighting those zones that you can break out a group and it's still not, impeding any traffic flow. So you can really start to see how multiple classes can use those spaces, work together, have breakouts from classes. You can start, crossing grade levels with what's happening within the learning spaces, and then have shared pin-up space for all of the artwork and projects going on. And then we also have dedicated art room and music room. And so working through the programming meetings, we've incorporated a lot of different type of furniture, storage, pin-up space, and being able to keep this dedicated space for those classes. This art room in particular connects directly to the media center on the other side of this brightly colored wall. And I think the next one is that's a typical classroom. So then we move into, we have a typical classroom layout for grades 1 through 5, and then another one for kindergarten. They have similar themes here, where we're kind of having teaching walls on both sides, pin-up space as much as possible, and then connections either to a small group room or for the kindergarten and classrooms, individual storage and toilet rooms, and connections between the classes there. This is down on that lower level, the student dining area. So carrying the same kind of color and nature themes throughout the main kind of gathering spaces. And this one here connects with, you can see the entrances to the gym and the music kind of at the far end. And then we have all of that natural light where you're looking out into that play space from the dining area. And then a nice open space that will serve for lunches as well as after school programs. It's one of the larger spaces on that lower floor. This is another view, just thinking about the visual connections between student dining and that main level. If there's kind of just views of, collaboration from that media center side, we're looking at built-in opportunities for, again, just more breakout benches, and then different zones within the student dining to support the different kind of comfort levels of the larger groups of students that'll be using that space. And then this is the music room, which is also the stage. So by using spaces for multiple purposes, we're able to really just be efficient with the space we have. So that'll be used at all periods of the day. And then it'll open up to the gym for any performances where the seating will be set up on the gym side of the wall that's over to the left. And then that's the view of the gym. So looking at opportunities for school branding and school pride, and then having that direct connection out to the field, just again for outdoor activities or recess. And that'll also be an opportunity for if there are games after or on weekends or anything, you can again kind of segment the gym separately from the rest of the school for security. So that was kind of just a summary of all of the exciting things happening on the inside of BF Norton, and we'll kind of continue to push those themes and concepts as we get further in. And now we'll kind of flip to the opposite side. I'll turn it over to Suzette to talk about the construction of the building.
Great. So happy to be here, and to be honest, I get so excited seeing all of the renderings that AI3 puts together. We get to see it all the time, and just happy to be here. I thank Dr. Thornton for inviting us so that we can come and show you guys the renderings and where we're at right now. And honestly, round of applause for the renderings. For the school, great job. I think it looks beautiful, all of the colors. Just turning over into construction, a little less exciting than the beautiful renderings, but Consigli has been building schools for many years now. This school is no different, being adjacent to construction. We have our safety protocols that we typically do with separation of the site, zero tolerance policies, our OSHA 10 requirements, background checks, site security procedures, as well as setting up a what to expect board in the actual school to show what are you going to hear, what are you going to smell, what are you going to see on site on a weekly basis. So going on to the next page, another thing that we are studying is just the adjacent areas and abutters, dust control, noise control, and seismic control as well. We do have vibration monitoring that will be installed around the property line of the construction, and we will continue to monitor that and work with the school department to ensure that we are identifying the high, medium impact areas and following the procedures that we need to mitigate operational disruption. So we have a couple of plans here. The preliminary phasing plan aligns with what the permanent condition of the school site is going to look like. We've decided to build that road around construction. So we are going to start to have that pickup and drop off loop during the course of construction and ease our way into that during construction. Construction will carry on if you flip to the next page, and as we go through construction, it will remain the same as construction continues. The entrance being at the lower portion, the south area of the plan there, the entrance for the pickup and drop off, looping around towards the right of the page there and around the school towards the left. The buses will follow the same route that they've been doing currently around the existing school, and will maintain that during the course of construction. So as Anne Marie mentioned, construction is slated to start this summer, and we are scheduled to complete in fall 2027. So as you can see, this is the demolition phase. We ultimately just move our fence parameter to be around the existing school, do our demolition, and all of the construction will be within that fence line. The new elementary school will be complete, and all the adjacent areas will be complete as well, and ready for use. So that's pretty much the last phase of construction and how it looks at the end. That I believe that's the last slide, right? Yep. Yeah, perfect.
Thank you, Suzette. So we are very excited to deliver this project to the community, to the students, and to the staff members and teachers of Cumberland at BF Norton. So I just wanted to share some comments that we received back from RIDE during our numerous meetings with them. They are very excited about this project. They are very excited about 21st century learning and how Cumberland is doing that today and how we're going to adapt that with this new school. So I quote, Dr. De Silva had mentioned, your math suites, your reading suites, MLL, special education. Maybe Rye needs to be learning from Cumberland. That was his exact quote. So that is a testament to your teachers, your staff members, and we are very excited to complete that and bring it forward to you. So thank you.
Thank you very much. Any questions from the committee? Yes, Mr. Dean.
So BF Norton's going to be occupied during construction?
Yes.
Correct. Is there a plan to mitigate the noise between the two buildings? Because, I mean, you moved it a little bit closer. I would imagine that there's going to be a lot of noise during construction.
There will be. I don't know, Suzette, if you'd like to speak to the specifics. So during the phasing, construction phasing plan, if we want to go back, Consigli has some of these slides to really speak to and really address, before we start construction, what are you going to hear, what are you going to see, what are you going to smell? There's certain times that they'll probably have those, and making sure constant communication is happening with the faculty and staff members that are occupying the current BF Norton. Collier's project leaders will also be on site and doing that constant communication as well to make sure, okay, there's student testing. We cannot be doing, blasting or doing something on site that's going to be disrupting the students. So we'll make sure to mitigate as much as possible. Do you want to add?
That's exactly right, like Anne Marie said. And in addition, we are planning to do just work on the weekends as well. So we do have blackout times, and we also have work on the weekends to just mitigate any sound issues. We do monitor the sound on site, and we will come up with a plan for this site specifically, which is a little further than what we typically build. We typically build within 8 feet or so of other schools. So this is something that we've just finished about 3 schools, 8 feet within each other. So it's very common, and we do have a plan for that. So.
Thank you. Any other questions from the committee? All right. Thank you very much. Appreciate your time.
Thank you.
Madam Chair, and that's all we have tonight. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Thornton. Comments from the public. Do we have any comments from the public? Okay. So how the comments from the public work is you can go right up to the podium. It will be 3 minutes max. You need to just state your name and your address, and the school committee does not respond. So 3 minutes, please, and state your name and address. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Good evening. I'm Deb Malcolm. I live at 878 Black Plain Road in North Smithfield. I am the principal of JJM Cumberland Hill here in Cumberland. And I felt that following the last school committee meeting, I needed to be here to address some comments that were made. In the fall, I will be starting my 29th year here in Cumberland. So we know where my dedication lies. I'm not going to stand up here and provide you with data and test scores for RICAS and GSA for the students of Cumberland Hill, as I believe that that information has been shared by Mr. Damana. By the way, Cumberland Hill had the highest scores on GSA this year out of all the elementary schools in Cumberland. Just a fact. I will not provide you with the number of MLL students while somebody's texting. I will not provide you with the number of MLL students or the percentage of students who have diverse learning needs at Cumberland Hill. I believe that is something you need to investigate and research before you begin spreading false information about our school. What I will share is that I am proud of my Paraprofessional of the Year, Terry Sameo. I am proud of the 67 certified and non-certified staff members who walk through the doors every morning to instruct, support, and counsel 420 students who attend our school. What I will share is that the 5 elementary principals are a cohesive and collaborative group of women who work together and meet frequently in order to ensure all elementary students are receiving the best education possible. Teaching and learning is at the very core of our focus and work. The educators at all 5 elementary schools teach using the same core curriculum, including scope and sequence, meet with instructional coaches, and collaborate with grade level colleagues within their buildings as well as across the district. There is no magic at any single school. Each of the 5 schools are unique, and as building leaders, we celebrate the diversity at our individual schools. At Cumberland Hill, not only do we educate, but we are ensuring that we develop our students to be productive and positive members of the larger community through our Kindness Club, Gardening Club, Diversity Committee, and newly implemented cafeteria recycling program started this year, which is #1 in the state. Maybe I should be wearing a green ribbon instead of the blue one I am wearing. For anyone to reclassify schools based on their own personal criteria is a disservice to the students, staff, and families. I am proud of everything the staff and students accomplished.
It's been 3 minutes.
Thank you for your time
Thank
and your
you.
service.
Thank you.
Gabrielle Sullivan, 701 High Street, the two-star part of town. I'm on my last few months before I hit my tenure in Cumberland. I love my job, and although speaking my mind comes with risks, I tell my students every day to stand up for themselves and what they believe in, and I practice what I preach. Mr. Dean, you are the antithesis of education. You sit and look down on educators who came to previous meetings to inform you of your negative impact and to correct your misconceptions and ignorance. And instead of learning and growing, you childishly double down on your statements. Education is about listening to those with more knowledge and experience than you and adjusting your viewpoints when new, correct information is presented. You are too arrogant, superficial, ignorant, and overconfident to ever stoop so low as to change your mind. I wasted 30 minutes of my life listening to a recent episode where you clarified some points. You state that at every meeting someone ranks the schools, so why is it wrong when you do it? The rankings you mention are single data point rankings and don't take into account all of the things that make our schools great. They are ranking based on single identifiers. You, on the other hand, took those rankings out of context and added your personal opinion. You used demeaning language and did it to belittle schools you deem as less than. That's the difference. When a principal is celebrated or a blue ribbon is awarded, the rankings are mentioned to highlight achievements, not to put down other schools. That's how you used your rankings. You don't want to celebrate the success of every school. You wanted to state that our elementary schools have varying levels of quality of education. It's embarrassing that you can't see the difference. Have you ever been a teacher? Have you ever had an actual job in education? Or do you just spout nonsense between sips of scotch with no background knowledge? Since your election in December, have you visited any classrooms? Have you seen the incredible learning that goes on in our schools? You have no basis or right to rank the schools you haven't spent time in. And no, den leader in the cafeteria at BF Norton doesn't count as spending time in our schools. You don't see what actually happens during the school day. The gains our students make thanks to the amazing educators in town help them become confident young people, help them engage meaningfully in their community, and feel welcome and embraced in their schools. You diminish the growth of our students by judging them based on one test. And you can claim you're just stating the facts, but you aren't. A person like you doesn't care about hurting those around you because you feel entitled to say whatever you want. And fine, say all of the ridiculously ignorant thoughts that swirl in the hot air in your skull, but understand that freedom of speech is not freedom from consequence. You painted yourself as a victim in every aspect in your silly episode, saying how you deserved more time for public comment, but you're all for following the rules. You see yourself as so above the district that you were elected to serve. For publicly disparaging the district you were elected to, you should resign. The teachers and staff you talk down to are held to a higher standard for social media
Excuse
and are
me.
penalized.
I'm sorry. It's been 3 minutes. Thank you.
Thank you for your time.
Quick thing. Excuse me. Please do not talk back and forth within. No, there is. Please. Thank you. I appreciate your time.
Blaze, 69 Crestwood Court. So a member of this very committee stated this: while there is concern of how officials respond, it's equally as important that the residents communicate in a respectful and constructive manner. Yet, as we just saw, and for weeks now, Mr. Dean has been belittled, and that very member who's here today sits in silence and allows it. Last week, a sitting council member said, "Even as an elected official, I am entitled to public and private sectors of my life, regarding something they posted online. It's clear that Jason Dean made his comments as a podcast host, not as a school committee member. Yet, is he being given the same courtesy that our own town leaders expect from themselves? So why can't two things exist at once? You can be an excellent football player without being a Super Bowl champion. It doesn't take away from your talents or your greatness. I'm going to go over some scores. 6 out of 10, 4 out of 10, 9 out of 10, 8 out of 10, 6 out of 10. These are scores from greatschools.org of Cumberland, an independent, nonprofit research group. No one is saying our teachers have poor educators or some are better than the others, but we'd be naive to think that all schools perform the same. If that was the case, why would we place so much emphasis on being a blue ribbon school? It's because it represents excellence. It gives us something to strive for. Every district, every school, every classroom will have their own unique circumstances to overcome. I see some teachers are wearing blue ribbons tonight to represent the excellence your school has been rewarded. Not all schools have gotten that. It doesn't mean they cannot. So two things can be true. We can acknowledge better performing schools in Cumberland while we still recognize the excellence and dedication and hard work all our educators do. One doesn't take away from the others. And for the educators who have spoken out or plan to today to Mr. Dean, I encourage you to keep lines of communication open and ask for a meeting. He's very open. Simply voicing a complaint here and yelling at him and not allowing for dialogue leads no path towards a solution, and it won't lead to any progress. Thank you.
Good evening, members of the committee. Robert Caradillo from Westerly. I addressed the committee last June. I'm glad the young ladies were here tonight because that's why I'm here, and that's why I do what I do. A federal judge invalidated the Biden administration's attempted illegal hijacking of Title IX on January 9th. Then President Trump signed 2 executive orders restoring Title IX to its original intent, which was to protect citizens from discrimination based on sex, not gender identity. These executive orders, which are tantamount to federal law, keep biological males out of female sports and private spaces, eliminate the mandated use of pronouns by teachers and staff, and make it known to all that there will be no secrets kept from parents regarding any social transitioning of their children while in school. Our Attorney General and Ride Commissioner think it is fine and fair for boys to compete with girls athletically, to occupy the same bathrooms and locker rooms as them, violating their private spaces, simply because they identify as girls. They don't care, as I said, that this is tantamount to federal law because they have an agenda. Now, the Rhode Island Interscholastic League has attempted to cover itself by kicking the can back to local districts. They all know this is wrong and are more than willing to let you take the fall, which you will. This district and others recently received correspondence from the Rhode Island Center for Freedom and Prosperity, which has requested that the OCR investigate these districts and others for Title IX violations, as well as enforcements of RIDE's illegal transgender guidance, which RIDE lied about, as it is not based on any Rhode Island statute. I'm also curious as to why this topic was discussed in executive session rather than an open session. And we will see what the AG's office has to think about that. Bad advice. Instead of heeding this, the governor's advice and the AG's advice, this committee needs to do 2 things, and I'll wrap up. Change your Title IX policy, as others have, to President Trump's 2020 ruling, which protects all people from discrimination based on sex, not gender identity, exactly the way Title IX was intended when it was written and adopted in 1972. Secondly, protect our girls, those girls that were here earlier tonight. The state of Maine and Columbia University found out that this administration is serious and finally gave in. You need to dump RIDE's trans guidance, which also violates federal law. If you don't, you'll lose funding.
Excuse me, it's been 3 minutes.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Please amend your policy.
Any other public comment this evening? Okay, thank you. Oh, I'm sorry.
My name is Caleb Mitson, 56 Forestdale Drive, Cumberland, Rhode Island. And Mr. Dean, they told you tonight. Cumberland has been divided for years. North versus south, rich versus poor, right versus left. And now that divide is showing up in our schools. But here's the thing. No matter where you live or what you believe, we all want what's best for our kids. So let's start with something we can agree on. We want our children to succeed. And that starts with expecting more from our schools. This is a mindset. There's a mindset out there that as long as kids feel good, that's enough. That effort matters more than outcome. That everyone deserves a trophy, but that's not preparing them for life. When we stop pushing children to meet high standards, we do them a disservice. Life doesn't hand out trophies for just showing up. It rewards perseverance, grit, and growth, and our schools should reflect that. I want my kids challenged. I want every child in Cumberland to raise to their full potential. That only happens when we stop making excuses and start setting expectations. I know this makes some people uncomfortable, but discomfort isn't the enemy. Stagnation is. If we care about our students, we have to be willing to have uncomfortable conversations. So here's my challenge. Let's put down our pitchforks. Let's stop yelling across the divide and start building a bridge. Not to hear or not to tear anyone down, but to lift all our schools up. We can raise the bar and unite this town at the same time. That's how we move forward, not by lowering standards, but by rising together.
Any other public comment? That concludes public comment for this evening. Thank you. Reports of standing committees, Fiscal Management Subcommittee update. Ms. Smith?
Thank you, Madam Chair. The Fiscal Subcommittee did meet earlier this evening. We did cover quite a few different topics. First and foremost is the budget will be presented to the mayor tomorrow for the following year. So that was approved this past Monday from the school committee to pass that on with the superintendent's recommended budget over to the town council for the mayor and the town council to approve. Also, one of the big things that came out of the meeting tonight I thought was pretty great was the update from the food services. So when we switched from Sodexo over to Chartwell, we did it with guarantees of earnings that we would receive. We were receiving about $50,000 to $60,000 a year with Sodexo, and the guarantee offered by Chartwell was $123,000. And right now, through the end of February, we're already at $118,000. So we're well on track to exceed what we anticipated, and that's coming a lot from the students' involvement as well as all of the school involvements, offering of different items. We've increased dramatically the amount of students taking lunch in the town, so we've been quite pleased with the results, and we look forward to working with Chartwells in the future and taking any kind of recommendations from our students and how we can better things. So keep it up. Thank you very much, and that's all. We will have a payment of the bill in a short time, and I'll discuss it then.
Thank you, Ms. Smith. Policy and Procedures Subcommittee update. Ms. Feather?
Yes, on a side note, the paninis I've heard are fantastic. So that is what I've heard. So no comment on my dinners apparently. Okay, due to the numerous budget meetings, we were unable to hold a policy meeting this past week, but when we're able to reschedule, we will be able to reschedule in mid-April. And so there are a few things we'll be talking about. We have 2 second readings in a little bit, and I'll get to those in just a minute.
Thank you, Ms. Feather. Achievement and Communications Subcommittee, Ms. Shea?
Yep, we're actually on the schedule for April the 9th.
And District Health and Wellness Subcommittee, Ms. Shea?
Scheduled April 10th.
Thank you very much. Public hearing, Ms. Feather, on the reading of new policies, second reading?
So happy you said my name. I was about to just keep scrolling.
Sorry.
Okay, so based on our review of current laws and the policies of other districts, we've amended the 2 policies that I'll be mentioning in a second. In collaboration with leadership and district personnel, these revisions have been amended to align with best practices. The first is the MTSS policy, which formally describes the Cumberland School Department's process for tiered support systems and instructional practices in K through 12. And then the second one is the K-8 McKinney-Vento Homeless Assistance, goodness gracious, Act. And this policy ensures that all children and youth who are unhoused or in transitional housing receive a free and appropriate public education. Both passed policy sub 3-0, and the first reading was also passed in our previous meeting, so I would move passage on both. Thank you.
Okay, thank you so much. Any public comment regarding the 2 policies Ms. Feather just went over? Okay, no public comment. New business, discussion or vote to approve homeschool instruction requests for 2024-2025. There were none. Discussion and or vote to authorize the superintendent to bind the committee to change orders of up to $25,000 per change order on current construction projects. Said authorization shall be granted through December 31st, 2025, unless renewed or terminated by the committee. Dr. Thornton, would you like to speak to this,
Sure,
please?
Madam Chair, we actually did this last year. From time to time, you'll have a small dollar amount, a change order, if you will, in budget, but a change order. Rather than having to convene the building committee, we would authorize me to make that decision. So that expired last August. So this is really for like the small jobs, the high school roof, the middle school entryway, science labs, community, finishing community. So if you did this, it would be just for that small dollar amount, and it's in budget.
Can I have a motion to vote to authorize the superintendent bind the committee to change orders of up to $25,000 per change order on current construction projects? Motion by Mr. Bacon. Second by Ms. Goldstein. Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? That passes 7-0. Discussion and a vote to approve new policies. Ms. Feather.
Yes, as just mentioned, the I-1 Multi-Tiered Support System, MTSS policy, and the K-8 McKinney-Vento Homeless Assistance Act policy. I would motion to approve both of those.
Thank you. Ms. Feather motions to approve those 2 policies, Multi-Tiered Support System and K-8 McKinney-Vento Homeless Assistance Act policy. Do I have a second? Second by Ms. Goldstein. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? That passes 7-0. Discussion and or vote to approve school transportation resolution. This was in the drive. I don't know if SC-R-2025-01- increasing ridership from 8 to 10 students per bus and reducing the bus driver certification training course for applicants holding a commercial driver's license and allowing the DMV to grant temporary license to school bus drivers licensed in bordering states. Do I have a motion to vote to approve the school transportation resolution?
Motion.
Motion by Ms. Shea,
Second with discussion?
second by Ms. Smith with discussion. Discussion?
Yes. Actually, I just have a question on this because when I read through it, they're looking collectively for the towns and cities to save $650,000 to $1 million. Do we know what the estimation would be for Cumberland or the projection would be in Cumberland savings if this were to go through?
Call Mr. McGrath for that.
Good evening. Good evening, everyone. I would estimate it would probably be in the $50,000 range. It's very difficult to tell, seeing as the way statewide kind of blends all those together. If collectively it's, $100,000, I would think we'd be in the $25,000 to $50,000 range. I know this is to support statewide and some of their adjustments that they're making, so that's what I would expect. Yeah.
And are all the schools all the LEAs involved with this? Or I know we're doing it and we're going to be submitting it out to all the towns, all the senators, representatives and things like that, but are all the other towns doing the same?
Being sent around currently.
Ms. Feather?
And for, just the public as well, so it's my understanding that this is also being asked to combat the kind of driver issue or lack of drivers issue, is that?
Yeah,
also
that's my
the case?
understanding of the bill, is to help combat that issue that they're having, along with adjusting from the 8 to the 10, which is, I think, lines up stronger with the vehicles that they currently have. So.
Right. Okay, cool. I just wanted to make sure. Thank you.
Any other discussion or questions? I have a motion, I have a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
And any opposed? That passes 7-0. Discussion and/or vote to approve purchasing resolutions. Ms. Smith?
Thank you, Madam Chair. Tonight we have 6 on the agenda. I just want to point out that resolution that's listed under number 3, SCPR 3/2025-24, has been tabled. We are still waiting for some documentation related to that. So during fiscal this evening, the other 5 remaining resolutions were discussed. There was only one question that was asked, and that was just ensuring that we're looking locally to see if we can buy product locally, and that was relating to the computers or the laptops that are being replaced, just to make sure that we were looking at the buying power in the local town, and which we are, and there's none available to buy from, so we had to source elsewhere. That was the only question, and all of the 5 resolutions, SCPR 2025 I'm going to lose my site here, -22, 23, 25, 26, 27, all pass fiscal 3-0, and I would move passage of all.
Ms. Smith moves passage of SC-PR-3-2025-22, -23, 25, 26, and 27, with tabling 24. Do I have a second? Second by Mr. Dean. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? That passes 7-0. Discussion and a vote to approve payment of bills. Ms. Smith?
Yes, actually, this bill is off-cycle. It's something that we've looked at and Mr. McGrath worked out. The Chartwell contract has us paying our invoice within 30 days. However, the timing of the invoicing and the way that our months are closing, and by the time we get our bills approved, they're waiting a lot longer than 30 days. So what we've decided to do is Chartwell will do their presentation to the fiscal subcommittee monthly on the second meeting of the month. And at that time, they'll also have the bill presented, and that will come to us for payment of the bills. So it'll be an off-cycle to all the other bills, and it will be done individually on that second meeting of the month. So this is the first meeting in which we've started to do that. And tonight, the approval on the payment of the bills is just for the Chartwell bill for $179,596.14. And I would move passage.
Ms. Smith moves passage to pay Chartwell's bill for $179,596.14. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Mr. Dean. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? That passes 7-0. Dr. Thornton, do we need to go into executive session?
We do not.
Do I have a motion to adjourn? Oh, bunch of motions. And Ms. Goldstein, I'm going to go with you. Ms. Goldstein, motion adjourned. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Mr. Dean. All in favor? Aye. That passes 7-0. We adjourn tonight's school committee meeting at 8:14 p.m. Have a great night.